I woke up this morning, tied my boots up, 'cause I knew it was gonna be a long day. Tied my truck up.
Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of In the Sulky. We are joined by the Bionic Man, Tim Tetrick, as Ken Workington mentioned, the four-time driver of the year. Now, let's go back to 2007, 2008, your record years. Here's some staggering stats. You drove, in those 2 years, in 8,776 races. That's an average of over 12 drives per day, every day of the year. How in the heck did you do that?
I don't know. In 07, I think I had 3 days off that whole year, Christmas, Super Bowl Sunday, and Easter. That was about it.
Well, you earned over $38 million, so at least you cashed in
The paydays were good.
When you were working that hard. Now, you've had multiple hip replacement surgeries. Any lingering effects, or are you 100% physical?
No, I feel great. No pain, and it's a lot. I'm so glad I finally got them done.
Now, harness racing, Tim, has almost become a trainer's game. You look at the top of the standings every year, especially in the Grand Circuit. It's Ronnie Burke and Jimmy Takter that win everything in sight. And other than Crazy Wow for Burke and an occasional horse for Takter, you really don't get to drive for them too often. So you're kind of starting in the hole compared to some of the other drivers.
You know, I just can work with what I'm dealt with. When I do get to drive for those guys, it's an honor and a privilege. But, you know, I have good guys, too, that put me up every week. Tony Alagna and Linda Toscano and the Baymans and, you know, Jimmy King. All them guys got good horses, and, you know, I've managed to make a living at doing what I do.
Tim, this is the busy time of year for catch drivers. You've got the doubleheader action, Harris Philly Friday during the day, Meadowlands at night, Meadowlands qualifiers maybe go somewhere in the afternoon, Pocono at night on Sunday after the Harris Philly. That is a lot of driving around, a lot of driving horses. How do you stay mentally sharp and concentrate on your programs and stay focused?
That's the hardest part about it. It's not the driving horses. It's the phone calls and having to pick which horse you want to drive, and, you know, doing all your homework and make sure you're at the right track on the right day and not messing it up. And, you know, it's tough, and that drive time in the car really aggravates me because it's a lot of time in the car.
How is the Tim Tetrick racing gear going? We had a great commercial for you. I know you're selling it online. I actually have a free Tim Tetrick polo shirt. I'm not going to tell you how I got it. Are people catching on and buying merchandise?
I think they are. You know, it's just a little thing that we did, and my wife Ash is doing all the work with it, and she does a great job with it. And it's just glad to help any way we can.
Tell us one thing about Tim Tetrick we wouldn't know. I mean, when you have a day off, do you like to go play golf? Did you play like the violin in 6th grade at school or anything like that?
When I was in 3rd grade, I weighed what I do now. I was pretty heavy when I was a young kid, and I was in a body cast for 9-10 weeks, and I couldn't move, so I gained quite a bit of weight.
All you could do was eat during that time.
I was really fat.
Why were you in the body cast?
They were trying to surgically help my hips, you know, from rubbing on or bone on bone, and, you know, they were in a body cast for 9 weeks. It helped, but it didn't fix it, and, you know, I sat in a wheelchair for about 9 weeks.
Well, if I would weigh now what I did in 3rd grade, a strong wind like tonight would blow me away, I think. Tim, you qualified some of your superstars this morning. Let's take a look back at this morning's qualifying action, starting with market share. And he's on the lead here as we show this roll in. How was he, and what do you think of him?
You know, the connections were a little upset with him, but I wasn't. You know, really, that's the first time I've really stretched him out in over 10 months, 8-9 months, and off a long layoff. That was a pretty big mile, so I wasn't disappointed in him. And he got caught by a 4-year-old that's raced, you know, 8-9 times this year. I know the connections have high hopes for the graduate in some of the races, so, you know, he sat in the pocket and he just out-sprinted Markey. And Markey's biggest game has never been on the front, but I wasn't disappointed in him.
What happened to him last year, Tim? Only 9 starts, only 1 win. Horrible year by his standards.
He was just sore. You know, from all the war miles that he's gone in his career, in my opinion, you know, he's already exceeded what he's supposed to do. He's a revenue. He win the Hambo, and, you know, he's a cheap yearling. And, you know, you watch him going slow. He doesn't look like he can trot 50, but he's got a big heart, and, you know, he's going to bounce back. Is he going to be the market share of the old? You know, we hope so, but, you know, he's still got a spot in my heart.
The 2-year-old pacing champion, Boston Red Rocks, qualified today as second qualifier. Let's take a look at this roll-in. This horse was like scary. He looks like he's growing a ton, bigger, stronger, faster. And I mean, you annihilate this field in 151.
He was very, very good. Finished with the plugs in, and, you know, he's kind of a lazy colt, and he was looking around, and, you know, at top lane I really got after him, and after that I put him away, and he just coasted all the way down the lane, and it was a very, very good qualifier.
Now, coming into the 3-year-old season, the general consensus was a lot of very nice colts. Boston Red Rocks probably the best, but no real superstars. Is he a potential superstar?
Oh, I think so. You know, you watch some of the qualifiers today. There were some very talented colts out there, and, until we start going halves in 54 and 53 and some of them get beat up, the true ones are going to stay there, and the weaker ones are going to show that they don't belong.
Well, our last qualifier, Roland Zamero, has been several halves in 53 and 54. That's Andra Vett. Hard to believe she's 9 years old, still going strong. Now, she ends up finishing second in here. I didn't think she was going to kick to the last little bit. How was she today?
I mean, you look at the line, and she felt good, and you wouldn't, sitting behind her, you wouldn't think she's 9 years old. She's never been a big sprinter, but she got home in 25 and 3. That's just as fast as she can get home. She's been a great mare, and she feels like she's 4 again.
And those Baymons, they've got the market cornered on those pacing mares, don't they? Venus Delight and Crispy Apple and all those.
Them guys do really, really good with the age pacers. They take great care of them, and they last for years. It's just amazing how they can keep them at that high level for so many years.
All right, for those of you looking to wager tonight, sharpen your pencils. We're going to go through some of Tim's drives and get his thoughts. Let's start in the first race. Number 5, Mindtrip, who raced the top Grand Circuit colts last year. You chose him over another Alanya trainee in Tom Hill.
Tom Hill, he's just got kind of one move, I thought, and I think Mindtrip can beat these, I hope. And I really liked him last year. He showed some flashes of being a really nice horse. He's a big, strong colt, and I think he's okay.
Moving on to the fourth race, you're driving number 6, Missile J for Linda Toscano. We saw this horse can flat out smoke in the wintertime, and I think he's going to be a major player in the New York Sire Stakes, maybe even more.
He has the potential. He's got very high speed. They're still working on a few quirks about making him mind his manners, but when you get his mind right and he's on his game, he can carry the mail.
Moving on to the fifth race, number 4, Never Ever Clever. Drops in class tonight for Jonas Sarnason. You've never driven her before. Will you try to change things up, or how do you approach it when you drive a horse for the first time?
I'll just kind of feel her out in the post braid. I'll talk to Jonas and see what he thinks, and if she feels like she's wanting to go, I'll try to give her a shot.
Moving on to the 6th race, number 6, J Eagle Feather. You raced him a bit in the New York Sire Stakes last year. Looks like he's pretty good.
He's a nice horse. He's been racing well at Pocono, and he actually likes the bigger track better, and if he can get in the race, I think he's got a little shot.
7th race is a pretty good betting race on paper. You got number 6, Sweet Rock. He'll probably be more of a long shot, but he did win the New Jersey Classic a couple years ago, and these guys do very well at Dover Downs.
They're very good trainers. They don't really always leave Dover, but when they do, they leave for a reason, and they've had great success on the outside of Delaware, and when they bring them up here, they're usually ready.
Now in the 11th race, you've got number 4, Dr. Butch. Really good field, really good horse, but you look outside, always be Mickey's in there. That dude's just flat out scary.
He's the best free-for-all I've seen in the last couple years, and yet to see what he did with 4 or 5 go after him, but right now he's the one to beat.
Now I think he's going to pace in 45 and change this year. Do you share my opinion?
I agree with you. He's the first one I've seen since I've been out here that could do that, and if somebody gets a little silly the first 3/8 and he removes, and he might be down there 117, I don't know.
I have 2 last questions for you. You got started in Chicago. You raced against 2 of the greatest drivers I've ever seen in the Midwest, Tony Morgan and Dave McGee. Who was better?
They're both my idols. I owe a lot to both of them because I got to grow up watching 2 great drivers like they are, and Tony on the nightly basis would just wear you down, just sit on the outside and beat you in the bad horse, bad gated. He's just a great horseman. Dave McGee would just finesse you to death. He'd let you go and beat you either way he had to, and he was just very good at what they did.
Last question. You were in the Elite Lot playoff last Sunday with Crazy Wow. From your vantage point, what in the world happened with Resolve and Oka Svanstedt going inside those pylons there?
I don't know if it kind of surprised Aki that he got around John so quick, and Resolve's a very, very nice horse, and I think it was really windy and combination of a few things. He just kind of got sideways, and Aki couldn't correct him quick enough, and he got inside those pylons.
Tim Tetrick, always a pleasure. Thanks for taking time to join us. Good luck out there tonight. I'm sure we're going to see you in the winner's circle a lot of times in the major stakes.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
Tim Tetrick, the Bionic Man in the sulky. Quick timeout, and Hollywood Hayden climbs into the air chair to tee up tonight.